It is important that young people get involved and support children to understand why gender jokes and terms are not appropriate.
I think it's essential, it's very important that the young people are the ones that get involved and become active in White Ribbon. The White Ribbon message is on their wavelength. They seem to want to build that world that the White Ribbon sort of envisaged.
I think it's important for young people to be aware of how they act and behave towards each other and what sort of behaviour is unacceptable.
Young people will be empowered to play a part in their role, in their development, as well as in their own communities.
Young people are under a lot of pressure these days from their peer groups and particularly in social media groups to conform to what they consider to be social norms, and a lot of that is harmful and toxic. So by calling out in the early days and getting them on board means that we can appreciate from as young age as possible that these behaviours are unacceptable.
I think it's important for young people to get involved, because if young people aren't involved, then they're not going to be thinking about what's happening, and then that can affect them in their later lives, or it can affect how people have their relationships in later lives.
Gender stereotyping happens at a very early age, and we do need to demonstrate to school children and to teenagers and young people generally that respect is important for all people, particularly women.
It is important to get young people involved, as educating children is about gender equality from an early age, and it's an essential part of the solution. Children grow up surrounded by gender stereotypes at home, in school and in the wider world, which send them strong messages about how girls and boys, women and men should look and behave.
The sooner you can start with folk talking about an issue, then I think the sooner they start discussing it together, and it becomes a kind of a bottom-up group energy thing to do something about the topic. And from what I've seen, it's been very effective in terms of that group of people taking that topic forward, and as they grow older they'll be talking with their peers but also talking to other youngsters as they grow up.
I think it's really important young people get involved in White Ribbon, because often, particularly in some sectors, there are norms that young people are growing up with which are not always helpful.
Young people are the future, and we are not going to be able to solve the problem of violence towards women unless we catch people very young. It's much harder to change your behaviours the older you get, so catch them young and develop behaviours that are acceptable from the start so they don't have to change them.
I believe it's important because, in my opinion, our younger life shapes us. If we can bring awareness of the issues and the red flags and the warning signs of these relationships and reinforce them to create positive relationships from a young age, I believe that we can stamp out domestic violence, because at the end of the day, the change starts with us.